It's May 11th, 2020. This is Roqe. If there's one thing we're learning as we start to build a reservatory of compelling personalities and stories in the global Iranian community with this show, it's that while there are amazing people of Iranian background doing amazing things around the world, most of them have had to deal with a great deal of adversity to get there. Today's guest is a brilliant example of overcoming the odds, and in her case, she spent the first half of her life in Iran, but has built her impressive acting and modeling career outside of it. Now she's a star in Asia, but not very well known in her country of birth. This is Conversations from, to, and about the Iranian diaspora. I'm Jian Ghomeshi. This is Roqe. Welcome to episode number 8 of Roqe. امیدوار هستم که خوب هستین و باشین. You see? Both of them for those of you who are keeping score of previous shows. Otherwise, you don't know what I'm talking about. مثل که websiteمون finally حاضر شده. That's right, our website, or in Farsi, website. Our website is حاضر. I think. Roqemedia.com is where to find it and to sign up for Roqe info and updates. Thank you as ever to those supporting us and spreading the word on this show as we slowly build it. I mentioned last week that we're going to be exploring personalities in our diaspora who are succeeding at the highest levels of Bollywood and Hollywood. So let's start with Bollywood, and let me get to our featured guest on this episode of Roqe. So think of the big stars of today, actors, models, influencers. When we look at celebrities' editorial spreads in magazines or their photo ops on Instagram or the promotional material of their recent big projects, we may see them in a framed image of attractive brilliance and effortless happiness, as if they were chosen by ancient gods to shine like golden statues among the rest of us. But certainly what those depictions may lack is the story of the often very difficult journeys that some celebrities have had to travel on long, winding paths. What is depicted as effortless, in fact, can be the fruit of years of yearning, hard work, discipline, dedication, turbulence, physical and mental sacrifice, and perhaps even rejection, alienation, and loneliness. And at the end, the cause of one's success or failure could simply hinge on such vulnerabilities that many could not have surmounted. My guest today is someone who's come a long way from the taboos of her home country of Iran. But even now, controversies as an Iranian Muslim woman can follow her all the way to India, where she resides today and is a massive star. Mandana Karimi is an actress and model based in Mumbai. She was born and raised near Tehran in a conservative Muslim family. In her late teens, she left her career as a flight attendant in Iran to pursue professional modeling in Malaysia. After working on various international modeling projects for top designers, she ended up in Mumbai to pursue a modeling and acting career there. Since then, Mandana has been cast in numerous feature films and Indian TV commercials with renowned people such as Shah Rukh Khan, Saif Ali Khan, Kareena Kapoor, and Arjun Kapoor. She has appeared in major movies such as Roy, Bagh Jani, Kya Kul Hain Hum 3, and also a TV series called Ishqbaz. She was also the first confirmed contestant on the reality TV show Big Boss 9, where she was one of the finalists of the season. In addition, Mandana Karimi is a humanitarian who has worked extensively with underprivileged children in India. She's an impressive mixture of talent, celebrity, ambition, and fortitude. And today, for her first interview ever in English aimed at the Iranian diaspora, Mandana Karimi joins me from Mumbai, India. Hello, Mandana.
Hi. Oh my God, what you just explained and spoke about people who, they look so glamorous, and sometimes we don't know where they come from. That just such a great introduction. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for doing this, and thanks for saying that.
Yeah,
There
of
is
course.
so much to
Yeah.
talk to you about with your incredible journey, but let me just start with where you are right now and our current global situation. I mean, this is the obligatory question now for every beginning of every interview. How are you doing in the era of
Yeah.
COVID?
I'm doing great. I'm keeping really well and healthy and safe. At the moment, I'm in Mumbai. I'm in India, and I've been isolated for past I think almost 2 months, maybe more. Because before the pandemic started especially in India, when the lockdown started, I was busy shooting for my web series, and because of the travel history that I had, and because I spent so much time on set, so I had to isolate it myself before the lockdown started in India. So I'm doing great. I mean, it's not so bad. I'm quite enjoying it. I'm managing to do a lot at home, um, constantly keeping myself busy throughout the day. I stay alone. I don't have my full-time help who used to stay with me. She's not there anymore, and I don't have my family here, so I'm alone at home with my two doggies. Yeah,
Mumbai is the largest, most
yeah,
populous city in India, and it's one of the most densely populated urban areas in the world. So, how has the lockdown
yeah.
changed the face of that city? And I was thinking, we hear about empty streets having this effect on the environment in places like Los Angeles or Tehran. Do you feel like the air is
Yeah.
less polluted in Mumbai as compared to before the corona time?
Oh, for sure. I think it was few days ago that there was a news somewhere very close to Mumbai. There has been a big number of flamingos which haven't been seen for I think more than 20 years or maybe more. And that's also a pink flamingo which is in the area that they have come back. It used to be a sort of like a river which used to come from Pune, and now they are back, and it's quite shocking. Or as a matter of fact, there was I think dolphins been seen in Mumbai at the ocean.
Wow.
So for sure the nature is healing itself.
Of course, the professional implications are not as rosy. And you talked about having to suspend your web series. Mumbai is known as the heart of the
Yeah,
Bollywood film industry. How has the spread of COVID-19
yeah.
affected the film industry and your work life in that sense?
Unfortunately for me, it has affected my work a lot because I was shooting for one show and I was supposed to start shooting for another show a month and a half ago. And so we didn't finish the first show. My other show is also hasn't started yet, and I was supposed to be traveling now for another movie. So I can say easily for the next 6 months of my schedule, it's completely destroyed. And luckily, the next three projects that I was supposed to be doing, it's on OTP platforms in India. We can manage studios and we can manage a small crew. But my other movie, they're not sure if they're going to even be able to shoot this year. By the law of India, for the movie set, you can't have more than 7 people on set. So everyone is trying really hard to figure out when we can go back to movie sets.
And you seem like such a prolific personality. You know, you're involved in so many
Yeah.
things. Are you going stir crazy?
Yeah, I love my work, and obviously, yes, I am missing being on set and shooting. 2020 was for me shooting for four projects back to back. It's kind of sad that I couldn't continue shooting, but as all of us know, Iranians, they are very hardworking people. We managed to find. Hello?
Yes, I'm laughing. Go ahead. I was thinking some of
Oh my
us,
God.
some are hardworking. Some I know some who aren't as hardworking. But go ahead.
Oh, no, I think Iranians, they're really hardworking and they're like they're really smart and they're honest people, and I think we love working, we love achieving our goals. I don't know, I found that quality in Iranians. So yeah, I keep myself really busy, and all I think every day that I need to make the most of what I have.
Take us
Yeah.
back, Mandana. You're this huge star now across Asia, as I intimated in the introduction. It's hard
Yeah.
to not see you as this glamorous, well off star, but you come from a pretty modest background in Iran. Can you describe your childhood in Iran?
um, sometimes story as a story, and you watch a movie and you see that person from where they come from and what they achieve, and it's just two different people. You always you always think where this person has come from. Why, like, was she like this from the beginning? That's exactly me, because I wasn't born in Tehran. I was born in Save. Save is a very small city near, like, how many hours from Tehran? Like 2 hours, I think. It's a very small city. I come from a very basic, small family. I've come absolutely from a father who had a normal job to kind of just survive in his life and taking care of his family. I come from a place where there is no value to art. There is no value to movies. You can't actually watch any films. It's more like an illegal thing. It's and especially my family, because I wasn't introduced to movies, or I wasn't introduced to TV or cartoons or English or none of that. Very basic house, barely survive or barely managing to just survive. And I used to go to a public school where in Sabe, obviously we used to cover and wear hijab, and yeah, so that was my basically my childhood. Yeah,
So
that's where I
yeah,
come
you're
from.
not exactly, I forget the name of Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith's kid. Who's just expected to be a star following in their footsteps.
Yeah.
That was obviously not the prescribed goal for you. But when you would lie in
Yeah.
bed in this modest town in Iran as a kid, was this even conceivable in
Yeah.
your head that you're going to become this star, that you're going to become this international model and actress?
No, you know what was in my mind? I tell you a funny story. I used to fight with my family, but okay, so from outside, I used to be this really shy, skinny, big glasses, wearing a big glasses, and not, I wasn't even able to stand up for myself as a kid. I was a really good student. I couldn't even like take any credit for myself in my school while I was doing everyone's homework. But I had one thought from my childhood where I used to dream myself outside of this family, outside of this city, not seeing anyone around me. Like, I didn't want to have my family, my dad, my mom, my brothers. And I used to keep telling myself that one day I'm going to leave you all. I'm gonna reach somewhere. I didn't know where that is.
Wow.
I didn't have any idea, but I used to tell them, I used to tell my mother that one day I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna prove that I'm not part of this family. You have adopted me. You guys are so weird, and I don't know, how do you think? And I used to be a trouble child. I used to have all this weird thing saying to my mother that just tell me the truth. Like, have you stolen me from a rich family? Or have I was from some other city that you have brought me here?
Unachi Magoftan. How would they respond to that?
They used to just like be really angry at me all the time. And sometimes I used to get beaten up because I was just talking too much of rubbish.
And they were conservative, right? They're quite religious.
Oh, yeah. I was 8 or maybe I was 9. One of our neighbors, one of the daughters, she used to go to school with me. And I remember she told me that there was a boy in our neighborhood. Apparently, she touched him or they talked or something. I don't remember exactly, but I came home and I told my mom, like, oh my God, like, she has a boyfriend, something like that. And you won't believe, I was not allowed to go to my school. I wasn't allowed to talk to that girl anymore because for them was like, that's wrong. You're gonna get married and that's it. There is no boys. There is no talking about boys. And that's how my family was, and they were very conservative, and as we call them, they were chadori.
How would you even have the idea that that's not normal? I mean, where did the rebelliousness come in you?
To be honest, now when I'm every year when I'm getting older, and I keep thinking about it and I'm trying to put sense to it. I think my grandmother, my mom's mother, because she was the only woman in entire family. Uh, she used to be a nurse, and because she was working in hospital, and she had few colleagues who they were in Iranian, they were from India or they were from other countries. They were staying in Tehran. So she used to come home and she used to talk about these people and where they come from. And I used to be really fascinated by my grandmother because she was the only one on those years. She went to Mecca and Syria and all those places, right? So she used to travel, and when she used to come back with all these stories about plane, and she did this, she did that. And I think probably my grandmother has been my biggest influencer, I can say, when I was a kid, because when I think about my mother and the way she is, she doesn't know anything more than that life where her entire generations they have lived it, from
Hmm.
getting married, struggling with life, being okay with whatever they have, even if she's getting beaten up by her husband. That's how it is, that's how love is, or that's how you keep your marriage. Or let's say about the whole drama with, I don't know, with the cousins, with the family. You have everyone else into your business and all that, all that whole culture. That's what works for her. But from when I was a kid, I used to tell my mother, why you are tolerating this? Like, why you are not giving my father divorce? Why you not leaving him when he's just such a, horrible person to you? And yeah, I think my grandmother has been my biggest inspiration, because at the age of 15, when I used to start talking about leaving my house and moving out of apartment, she used to tell me, be your own boss, make your own money,
Hmm.
make sure that you're going to study, make sure you're not going to listen to your mother and get married when you're 17 or 18. She used to tell me all that. She used to be like, uh, follow your dreams, follow your heart, do whatever you feel like is right, don't listen to other people. And unfortunately, I lost my grandmother when just 2 years before I left Iran.
Which is when you were 17. I want to continue with your journey, but I don't want to get to the spoiler, but where are your parents now, and how do they feel about you now? I mean, are they happy that you're a big star?
Uh, well, let me correct you. I'm not a big star yet. I'm just a little tiny star, which I'm trying to kind of shine. Not much has happened for me yet, but
Okay.
thank you. Um, my mom, she's in Iran. My two brothers are in Iran. Right now, I'm on a best time of my relationship with my family because something happened in my life 4 years ago, and it changed me as a person. I don't know, it kind of made me to go back to a real myself that I am. I was running away from my country, I was running away from my culture, I was running away from my mother, I was running away from everyone. And I think I just realized 4 years ago that I'm just so tired of running. And so I decided to work on my relationships. And finally, now I have a good relationship with my family. And but in the beginning, no, they didn't talk to me for 3 years. They abandoned me for 3 years.
There's so much there. It's beautiful to hear that you've been repairing those things. Okay, so let's say you're the little star, not the big star. I think I would
Yeah.
contest that based on the big films you've done and the amount of followers you have,
Thank you.
etc. Vali
Yeah.
Bamamanit, I mean, does she say to you now, like, I'm proud of you, honey? And what does that
Oh
mean to
yeah.
you?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now, because she comes to India and she sees the way people are treating me and the way, from that little girl who had no money to do anything. Now I'm financially supporting myself. I'm a powerful person in a society. I have a say in a society. I have, in India, when she comes here, she always says I mean, obviously now she's like, oh, I always knew that you're gonna be only child that's gonna reach places. Obviously, she's gonna say that, but yeah, genuinely now she's proud of me, and finally I'm after so many years of ups and downs and so much of hatred and so much of running away from her and my family. Now finally we are okay. We are in a good place.
The story goes you were a flight attendant in Iran, and then you left
Yeah.
when you were only 17. So apparently you were quite a young flight attendant, and then you
Yeah.
become this professional model in Malaysia. Now the
Yeah.
Persian girl you just described, the awkward with big glasses, academically oriented, quiet Persian girl.
Yeah.
There's a disconnect. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems there's a certain amount of self
Okay.
confidence that you need to be a model, especially at the top level of it. When did you
Oh,
realize that, I guess, you're attractive, or that you can be this international model, that's a possibility for you?
okay. So this question has couple of angles into the answer. First of all, I never thought that I'm going to become a model. And also, there is a misinformation on social media and on my bio online. I never became a flight attendant. In
Oh,
Iran, there are courses. So basically, when you finish your diploma or before you finish it, you can take those courses. If you finish your course, you get a degree from them. And after that, they start training you on an actual plane. And if you would like to, you can become a flight attendant. So I fill up my form, I finish my course. But what was behind my mind is finding a way to run away from my family and to run away from Iran. I didn't want to stay there. And for to be honest, for me that was my master plan, to kind of find a job where I'm going to travel a lot, right? So that was my master plan, to kind of running away, which after I finished my course, I was like, I don't think this is what I like. I don't think that I want to be a flight attendant. And so what happened is that at the same time, I met few girls. They used to live in Malaysia. So I met them in Iran at the party, and they were telling me, you look beautiful. You should become a model. And we live in Malaysia, and we study there. And when we have free time, we do some modeling. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know how to do it. So I met a friend of theirs who was a photographer, who looked at me and he laughed and he said, listen, I'm just going to take some pictures of you because your friends are asking. But yeah, okay, fine. I mean, you look nothing like a model, but if you want to take pictures, sure.
that's encouraging. Yeah.
I tell you something, I am a big believer of karma. If you make fun of someone, and if that someone has a true faith to themselves and to what they want to achieve in life, they will definitely achieve it. And it doesn't matter how many people they come and laugh at them. I still have that picture of my first photo shoot. I look weird looking Persian girl with no eyebrows, and I've done a horrible pose. And no wonder this photographer told me that I don't look like a model, because I wasn't, my friend. But the thing is, I got an email and I got a message on my Instagram. This is, I think, almost a year ago, from some photographer who my team told me that there is a message by someone in Farsi, but it's been repeatedly sending to your DM. So they said, do you want to check it out? So I opened the message, and guess who was the person? Is the photographer who has messaged me and saying me he's so proud of me. He knew that I'm going to achieve whatever I want, and one day I'm going to be the biggest model, which was not really true, but yeah. So
Wow.
that's how I became a model. Yeah.
I just have to take a couple of steps back, because you talked about
Yeah.
needing to escape, needing to leave Iran. And,
Yeah.
this is not something that's going to be extraordinary to a lot of people in the diaspora because they've had that experience. For others of us, I was born in England. I grew up there. I grew up in Canada. It never really occurred
Yeah.
to me that I want to escape from Canada. So that seems
Yeah.
like that seems scary to leave the country you've grown up in, to leave your family, to leave all of the things that you've known and just go.
Yeah.
Were you
Yeah.
scared, or was it somehow natural for you to do that?
What you're saying is really right, because let's say if I have a child tomorrow and I'm going to be staying in India for the rest of my life, and I would never want that for my child to have the feeling of running away from his or her house. That's such a terrible, terrible feeling. Yes, I was lucky that God knows how I survived. I don't know it. To be honest, if you ask me how did I survive, what was it in my mind that I thought I can leave the country with $700 in my pocket, and by not even speaking the language, I didn't even know English when I left Iran. I think what it was for me, definitely, I got introduced to a lot from age of 11 to 16. So we shifted to Tehran when I was 10. Suddenly I was introduced to a bigger life, a bigger city. Most of my friends from my high school, they used to have fancy cars and fancy houses, and some of them, their parents, they were doctors, or they had family members who they lived abroad, and I got introduced to Mahware and TV and all that, right? So suddenly I felt like, okay, this all this looks amazing. They have a happy life and everything looks so normal and everyone is so happy. So I want to have that. I want that. It doesn't matter what the price is going to be.
Hmm.
I don't care.
Hmm.
I want to get it, and I want to achieve those. And I think the drive that I had, the what's it called it, the crave that I had for achieving things. Probably in the beginning it started from I don't know, being able to buy things or have a fancy car or a house or whatever. In the beginning it started from that drive, and later on in life, obviously I have evolved in my life and my desire has changed. But I think in the beginning for me was simply to not wanting to stay in a country like that. And also it comes from a family that I belong to. I didn't really have a happy childhood. My childhood has been really difficult, and from broken home and from not having enough money or not being able to buy things that you want. From all that, I think all that kind of forced me to leave the country. And obviously later on, when I was a teenager, I was arrested twice for no reason, for going to party. And that also didn't really uh, work for me.
In
Even as a
Tehran?
teenager, I used to question. Yeah, in Tehran I've been arrested twice.
Hmm.
So for me, even as a teenager, that didn't agree with me. With my mind, I used to think like, what have I done wrong? Why do I have to be in a place that having a good time with your friends and watching, I don't know, a movies on a CD where there's a naked picture, or a actress who's not even naked, who's just wearing a dress? Why should be that a problem? Or why should I be miserable and sad and being in a jail because of things which are normal in other country? So I think that kind of made me to want to escape.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
also tremendously good at adapting.
Oh
You
yeah.
end up in India. I mean, you're not an actress
Yeah.
by the time you get there. You learn to act somehow. And I'm guessing because Bollywood
Yeah.
requires a big amount of dancing and singing, you train and you become a dancer as well,
Yeah.
or you a singer. And then
Yeah.
for one of your big films, I'm not sure if I can say this correctly. It's a Kia Super Cool Hein Hum 3. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the producer wanted to dub you, but you didn't agree to that.
Yeah.
Instead, you started taking Hindi lessons and you succeeded in acting in Hindi without being dubbed. I mean, I'm not even sure how this is possible in short amounts of time. Is Hindi an easy language to learn? Is it similar to Farsi? And to not to speak without an accent for someone whose accent is between Farsi and English, how was this task not daunting? How did you do it?
Uh, See, where you come from, a place like me, I've understood it's only me. I've got me. It doesn't matter what I'm going through, it's me and me and me. Yes, I have great friends around me. They've always been supportive with my career choices, with helping me, with all that. But at the end of the day, it's you, and you only need you. So, getting back how I learned it, my desire every year has changed in life. So for me, acting was this whole world that I experienced with the small little project that I start. From the beginning when I start my commercial stuff, and then I got the mainstream movie. Then I was part of Salman Khan's show, and after that, I've been introduced to this amazing people, amazing project where I look up to them and I'm like, oh my God, how these people have done it. Yes, they had choices and all that stuff, but then because I'm not from here, I'm not from India, I have to put 10 times more the effort, the hard work, the language, dance, script, all that, 10 times more I have to work because I've understood one thing. If you need something in life, you put your 100%, and if you don't get it, then you can nag or you can be upset. But if you haven't given
Right.
your 100%, my friend, you shouldn't be upset because you haven't given your 100%. And I think
Mm.
I respect my work so much. I love my work so much. And I did take a break for 2 years. I got married and I didn't want to work anymore. But that's the only regret that I have in my life because I stopped working and I realized I worked so hard, so many years to reach where I am. And, I stopped it for 2 years and, it was a hard realization for me. But I was lucky enough to kind of pull myself out of it. And I think that's been kind of in me. It's always, I'm very determined and I'm very hardworking, possessive, all of that with my work. So,
So let me ask you
yeah,
something around the question
yeah.
of identity, and I don't know if I'll phrase this the right way, and if you feel uncomfortable, you don't have to answer it. But let me try and be Roqe if I
Yeah, sure,
can.
sure.
Your
Mhm.
your success in India, as I understand it, is
Yeah.
partly based on the idea that millions of people there just assume you are Indian, and there's nothing wrong
Yeah,
with that, of course.
yeah.
But does it tug at your heart that you cannot do what you're doing in the same way in Iran, that you almost have to be someone else to sell yourself in India?
It breaks my heart every single time. It breaks my heart. And recently, 2 weeks ago, I can't give you the name of the director because he still works in Iran. So he messaged me and he said, so there was this incident. There was a crew in India. They were here shooting for a film, and friend of mine, an Indian guy who has produced the film, he was very excited for me to host Iranian dinner for this crew. So he planned it with me, and suddenly he calls back and he says, "Hey, listen, we have to cancel dinner because they said no." And I said, "Oh, okay, that's strange. Why?" And he said, "Sorry, I can't tell you, but I'll talk to you later." Which I never got that call, and I didn't
Hmm.
know what happened. So 2 weeks ago, I get a message from a director saying, "Hi, I am so and so. Last time when I was in India, I wanted you for our film, and because I heard about you and you stay in Mumbai, so it worked a lot for us. But then I didn't know who you are. I only heard that there is an Iranian model who works in Mumbai. But the moment I gave your name for the other process of the work, they said no. She's yes, she's Iranian, but she has done a lot of modeling work outside of Iran, and she's one of the girl who's been watched, and we can't work with her." This guy is messaging me 2 weeks ago telling me all this, and he says, "I would love you to read my script because we might come to India." And I said, "Oh my God, that's great. So, am I going to be part of it? Which character you want me to play?" And he says, "I'm so sorry, Mandana. The only reason I'm messaging you because I love your craft of work, and because it's Farsi and you are in Bollywood, so I want to have your opinion because you are part of that industry." And he's like, "We cannot take you for any Iranian movie. You never gonna be able to be part of any Iranian movie." And that breaks my heart because
Wow.
at the end of the day, Farsi is my first language. It's my mother tongue, and I want to do a movie where I'm acting in Farsi, and yeah, it's quite sad and heartbreaking, and it has broke my heart few times, and I have even missed the project in LA because I couldn't travel there because of my passport. So it's yeah.
Wow. And it occurs to me that it's a question that's not unfamiliar to many folks in the diaspora, but sometimes it's in reverse. Like a person who was a star in Iran will come, say, to the
Yeah.
United States and suddenly be unknown, and that's a difficult transition. You've achieved all of your fame or your career, your wealth outside of Iran. And
Yeah.
you've said you become sad when you speak Farsi and realize that the people in your homeland in Iran, where you were born, where you were raised, they don't really know you. How does that feel? How does being in exile play out for you as an artist and as an individual?
To be honest, I've hid myself for so long. I didn't want to people really know me back there because I think I decided to make a career outside of Iran, and it's been really tough. It's not easy, especially the industry that I am part of it. The entire India, which is billions of people, they want to be part of Bollywood, and I'm not even from here. I don't have family here. I don't know the language, so I've taken a big risk to be part of this industry. But then, getting back to your question, it's recently because I've decided to be in touch with my Iranian people, with, let's say, you guys, right? Example, you guys are
Hmm.
Iranian, but you lived all your life outside of Iran. I
In my case,
finally
yeah.
have found the courage to step out of my comfort zone, to face my fears, which is losing my Iranian passport. It might sound ridiculous to some people, as they say, oh, you lived outside of Iran for so many years and you could just get any passport and whatever, yeah, right? But I'm so emotionally attached to my passport. I know it has given me a lot of trouble. I've I've been through so much because of my passport. I've been to the jail at the airport because I'm Iranian. But still, I feel if I lose my passport, I'm going to lose my identity. I thought that for so many years, but now I realize my passport doesn't make me who I am. That's just piece
Hmm.
of paper. So finally, I think I'm in a process of giving up on it, and that's the reason I'm kind of facing my fear, which is if I'm going to be out there and if I'm going to be introduced to Iranian audience as well, what's going to happen? So I think that's a stage for me, and it does break my heart that people in Iran, they don't know who I am.
Do you hear from any people in Iran? I mean, regular people, fans. Do they
Oh
reach out
yeah,
to you, and what do they say?
how life work things out for you sometimes is really strange and beautiful. I have an Iranian friend. She came here a year ago. She was my guest in India. And apparently, she has a friend who is one of the producer from Manitou.
Right.
She saw my friend's story on Instagram, and she asked Pega, she said, who is this Iranian chick with you? She's so beautiful. Is she really Iranian? So when Pega told her that, she's my friend, and yes, she's been modeling for many years and now she's in Bollywood, and she brought me to India and I'm so proud of her. And so this person from Manitou was shocked by not knowing me. So they kind of digged in into my online stuff and my name and everything. And right away they called Pega and they said, listen, we have to have her on our show because surprisingly, we didn't know of her.
Hmm.
So I think in 3 months or 4 months, Manitou was already in India shooting about my life. And so basically, Manitou is the first platform where uh, they kind of introduced me to Iranian audience. And from that time until now, there has been a lot of people from Iran. My fan following, some of them are now from Iran, and I get a lot of messages about how with Iranian passport you became a model. Like, who are you? Where have you been? And I've got messages from my school friends, from photographers that I knew, from I don't know, from like Save. I've got messages from my old neighbor that I don't know even know who the person is anymore.
If we could set up a massive loudspeaker in the middle of Tehran
Yeah,
that would reach out to all of the people of
yeah.
Iran, what would you want to say? What would you want the people in Iran, those of us in the diaspora outside of Asia who maybe don't know you as well, what would you want us to know about you?
Yeah.
What would you want to say to everybody?
About me or just tell everyone else?
Either.
I think the first thing that I want to say, and we are more than enough. We need to understand the unity that has made us to survive so many, problems that we have in Iran. Right now, it's a time for us to have that unity back, to be talking about one thing, to stand for one thing, to be supportive of each other. I feel what we need in Iran right now is a unity between people. We shouldn't give up. It's not a time to give up. It's not a time to forget who we are. And about me, what I want them to know that I'm nothing different from you guys. I'm the same girl who's stuck in a house with her parents in Iran and with a bad boyfriend or with bad government or got arrested or forced to wear hijab or been sent to Evan or I'm the same girl. But the only thing that I have is that I decided what I want in my life and I put my 110% and I told myself it doesn't matter what's going to happen. You're going to survive this and you're going to come a better person and a bigger person from this situation.
That's powerfully said.
Yeah.
You know, you are strong in terms of the decisions you make.
Yeah.
It was about a year and a half ago in December 2018. I remember this. You shared a then and now picture on your Instagram page for which you were harshly criticized by some corners of the
Yeah.
internet. It was a
Yeah.
collage of a photo of you with a hijab taken back in
Yeah.
Iran, and then a photo
Yes.
of you in a red swimsuit. What was
Yeah.
that experience and the fallout from it? Like, well, I mean, you're laughing, but I mean that must have been difficult in terms of the reaction you got, right? Which couldn't have been unexpected. But what did you learn from that?
Um, to be honest, a lot of people from here, they always thought that I come from this fancy background who's probably my parents. There were some fancy Iranians who they sent me to outside of Iran and to study and to become model and because that's how I look. That's what my look are. I look fancy and glamorous and wearing bikini and having this amazing life outside of Iran. But then my reality was my childhood was that hijab. That's where I come from. That's where I used to force, or it wasn't a force, but it was like part of my life. When you are in Iran, you don't look at it as a force when you're a kid. I used to question it. I remember the first day of my school. It's so funny how I remember the exactly color of my dress. I was wearing a yellow dress. I fought with my mother when she gave me that magnae and manto, and I told her like I'm not gonna wear that. I'm going to school. It's the first day. I have to wear a nice dress. Since then to now, how my life has changed. The reason I'm laughing at it because I can't believe. I can't believe I was that person who used to wear hijab and go to school and cover and today I can wear a bikini and I'm absolutely confident in my skin.
Do you care when people attack you online?
No, not anymore. I used to have days. This is beginning of my career when I used to get really upset that why people they don't like me, why they saying a nasty things about me. I want people love me. I want everyone love me. I'm popular. I'm nice. I'm sweet. I'm beautiful. But then, my friend, the reality of life is you cannot please everybody. There are gonna be people who they're gonna come to your way, they're gonna try to break you, they're gonna hate you, and they have no reason for it. That's what life is. And some people they're gonna love you, and some people they're gonna hate you, and some people they think you're too tall or too skinny or too fat or too you have a weird accent or you come from a weird country, they don't matter. What matters in your life is your friends, family, and the belief that you have. That's it.
I hear you.
I find
But
it
how do
quite,
you keep it real, though? How do you keep it real? I mean, let's just talk about materially for a second. As someone who comes from
yeah,
modest means, I mean, you're rich now. What
yeah,
does fame and fortune do to a person? How if you're to be honest, can you
yeah.
be the same person as you were growing up? Can you keep it real if you're that star?
Okay, let me correct you. I'm not rich yet. I'm not a rich person. Yes,
Okay.
I'm well to
Okay.
do. I'm doing okay,
Compared
But
to who are you not rich? Who are you thinking about when you say you're not
not
rich? I mean, surely you're doing well in India, right?
well, I'm not rich from the level of being rich I have set for myself.
Okay.
Right now, I'm doing okay.
Okay.
I'm okay. I'm happy, but I'm not rich yet. And to be honest, how I keep it real, you have to see my friends. My friends are not from the industry. Like my best friend, she's a housewife. She has three beautiful children, and that's how I keep myself real. And if you see me when I'm not working, I mean, I look decent, but I'm wearing t-shirts and a jeans, and I'm happy to be in my friend's house having homemade food and just chill. And I don't know where it comes from. Is it because of my past and because of the place that I come from? I value people more than things.
Mm.
And I don't know if you follow me on social media. I always keep it really on social media. If I have bad days, I talk about it, and I try to get connected to my fans as much possible and as organically possible because and I think one of the reason that I started working with the NGO is that because I know the struggle. I know where you are powerless, how you feel. I know all that because I was that person once in upon a time.
Let me explain to people about that. It's another
Yeah,
perfect segue because I wanted to ask you about
yeah,
that before we go. You've been working with an NGO called Angel Express, teaching
yeah,
underprivileged children for years now, and you founded an
yeah,
organization called MHT, Minds and Hearts Together, for
yeah.
children of the slums to play football and soccer in organized teams and tournaments. You've just been explaining why that's important to you. What have you
Yeah.
gained? What have you learned from doing that with these kids?
3 years ago, I went to one of the biggest trauma in my life, and uh, it was a situation that I was physically and mentally numb. I couldn't feel anything anymore. I I was at my friend's house, and overnight I was thrown out of my house, and there was a big trauma happening in my life that time. And I didn't eat for days. I didn't talk to anyone for days, and she sat me down one day and she said, I don't want to be a broken record and telling you you need to eat or you need to move on or you need to, keep moving and don't give up on life and all that. But there is a place near our house where friend of ours, she used to go there and spend time with these kids. So it's not a school, but it's some few females. They have built up the NGO called Angel Express, and you can go hang out with kids, maybe teach them something, get them some food. And I feel you need something like that. You need to be around people like kids because of the energy that they have. They are so pure, and there is no agenda in them. So, and anyway, this friend of mine, she took me there, and I started just going and hanging out with these kids, talking, teaching them some painting, and they kind of brought me back to life. And I started realizing that they have nothing. Like their houses is on road. Like they literally have a plastic. They use it as a shelter, and that's their house. And it just made me realize that I used to be also poor and I used to have so many dreams and I worked so hard to reach where I am. And finally, my life is reaching the place that I wanted to be. Yes, right now I'm going through a downtime, but it hasn't been like this always. So I picked myself up from there. So I decided to open a company with my friend. It was a private company, and it was just few friends who they helped me. They put money, I put some, and we start gathering all these kids from my area, which called Bandra, and providing them 2 days of practice on one of the ground, which the owner of the ground was a friend of mine. So because he got to know about my cause that I'm doing, he gave us a free ground. I got a couple of more friends. We put money together. We bought them clothes, shoes, trainers, coaches. So we started doing this, and I think I started with 20 kids in the beginning, or maybe 18. And day by day, I got more people involved. And one of our girls, she plays for India now. She's not yet playing, but she's been coached for Indian team. And
Wow.
a lot of people like Ranveer Singh, he came one of the day on the ground, and he said, I'm so proud of you. You're doing this. Can I be part of it? And he came and he played with the kids, and it's been great.
That's really amazing. It truly
Yeah,
is. I can't keep you forever. I know that. I've just got one or two more questions I want to ask you, and
yeah, sure.
I keep coming back in my mind to these notions of identity, and it's really hard to embark on the journey of this show, talking to people, personalities, and is exploring stories of the Iranian diaspora all around the world, without
Yeah.
without hitting up against this wall in a lot of cases of paradox, of contradiction, where somebody will talk about their love of our common culture and our background um, and our people and our family values and all of that, and then also
Yeah.
tell this harrowing story as you have of wanting to escape this country and not being able to work there, and being quite bitter about elements of it. How do you come to terms with that paradox, and where is your identity for you? I mean, you've lived in different places now. No one would blame you if you wanted to say, I'm Indian and this is where I'm going to be and this is what I'm doing. I mean, it's that country's been good to you. Do
Yeah.
you still
Yeah.
feel you're an Iranian? Where do you fit in all of that?
I had my struggle. I had it for many years. I didn't know where I belonged anymore because, I left Iran. I started living in Asia. So I was in Malaysia for some time. Then I was in Singapore. I was in Hong Kong. I never felt like I belonged to any of these places until when I got my first project in India, which is 2009. I came here for a few days, and I love the people on set, and I felt like they are quite similar to Iranian culture. So I left India, and again I had an offer for India, and this time I came for a longer time, for 6 months, which was great. I made such amazing friends, and the work was good. I was loving the people. It felt like home. I think what home means to me is when I might not be from India, but I feel this place has given me so much, so much, that I don't feel the burden. I don't feel that I'm missing home, as which is Iran. The last time when I went to Iran, I was missing home, Mumbai. You know, that place was familiar for me. Iran is familiar. I know the language, I know the people, and all that, right? But I don't feel burden anymore because I don't know. Is it because of I'm growing older? Because when you are younger, you don't know where you belong. And I was lucky enough that I found India, and I found a job which I live for my job, and people kind of accepted me here. And obviously it's really tough. It's really tough to start from zero. It's really tough because I don't speak the language, and I'm not from here. A lot of people think that I'm Indian, but I'm not.
With all of this said, Mandana, you still
Yeah.
are the place in Mumbai that people come to for Persian food.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So,
for sure, because also see, what happened is that, like, look at all of us who are living outside of Iran, right? We have the best supermarkets and the best restaurants, and it owned by Iranians.
yes.
And I think I was missing that in Mumbai. I love food and I eat a lot, and I can't live without my zerish polo and korme sabzi and gaime. And so unfortunately we didn't have any Iranian restaurant in Mumbai. And when I took a break for 2 years, it was really difficult for me to come back. So I was looking for an alternate career, and I said, how about Iranian cloud kitchen, and I opened that, and to be honest, it was so popular that I had to shut it down.
I don't doubt that for a second.
Yeah.
Before I let you go,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
talked about that. You talked about that little documentary that Manoto made for about your life
Yeah.
last year,
Yeah.
and I watched it. And at one point, you say, I mean, you're speaking in Farsi, but you say, sometimes I'm talking about myself, and I cannot believe this is my life now. And I wonder
Yeah.
where you feel like you are on this journey. I mean, the question I had in my mind going into this interview was, have you done all that you've wanted to do? But you've said a number of times, you're not as rich as you intend to be, and you're not as big a star as you intend to be. So I can hear the ambition
Yeah.
bubbling under the surface. Where do you
Yeah.
feel like Mandana Karimi is on her journey?
I'm in a phase right now where I accept my reality and I'm not running away anymore. I'm facing my fears, which I had for so many years, and I kind of lost my identity as Mandana. Right now, I have found my identity, and I am no shying away from saying from where I'm coming from, who I am, what I've been through, and I'm here to stay. So that's where I'm from. Like that's where I am right now in my life.
It's been such a pleasure getting to spend some time with you, to talk to you. Thank you so much for doing this.
It feels so good to talk to someone who really understands, where you come from. It's amazing.
Stay safe out there, and we hope
You
to see
too.
you soon. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Yes. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Mandana Karimi. She's an actress. She's a model. She's a Bollywood star. She joined us from Mumbai, India today. Little music from 1965 in a film called Ganj Qarun, featuring Fardeen. The singer on this is Iraj.
منم که دل شاد اومدم بیغم و آفتاب اومدم به عشق شیرین اومدم به سال فرخاب اومدم.
This is full time for Roqe today. Thanks to the amazing Roqe team that puts in so much hard work. You can email us at info@roqemedia.com. Find us on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iTunes. خوب باشین.
منم که دل شاد اومدم بیغم و آفتاب اومدم به عشق شیرین اومدم به سال فرخاب اومدم. بفرمایید جلوتر.